You need to stop feeling angry right now. Anger can trigger the release of stress hormones. Did you know that 2 minutes of anger can produce hormones in your body that is able to kill a guinea pig? If you find that anger is becoming a frequent or overwhelming emotion in your life, make sure to watch this video. Everyone feels anxious from time to time. Occasional anxiety is a normal reaction to uncertainty about what's going to happen next, whether that's in the next few minutes, days, or months. Mental health experts define anxiety as worry over a threat that's still in your future. Your heart may race before an exam or presentation. It's also normal to want to get rid of those uncomfortable, pit-of-the-stomach feelings as quickly as possible. Interestingly, when you worry about getting rid of your anxiety, you're signaling your nervous system that you have even more to be anxious about. And that makes your anxiety worse. What to do? Follow these steps to fight your anxiety. Recognize and understand your anxiety. Tell yourself, my nervous system is kicking into high gear because I'm worried about this. Avoid self-criticism regarding these emotions. Rather, affirm to yourself, my body's reaction to these intricate, stressful, or challenging circumstances is a typical and healthy response. It's acceptable to experience these emotions. It's essential to understand that you can experience anxiety and still maintain a high level of functionality. You can perform very well with anxiety and probably have done so before. Reflect on instances in the past when you felt anxious but managed to carry out your responsibilities effectively. Perhaps you experienced anxiety before an event or a meeting, yet received positive feedback on your performance. When faced with overwhelming anxiety, the following techniques can provide immediate short-term relief. 1. Conduct a reality check. Ask yourself the following questions. On a scale of 1 to 100, how likely is it that the thing I'm anxious about will actually happen? Do I have substantial reasons to believe that something will go wrong? Is there a possibility that I am excessively concerned or worried? It can be highly beneficial to share your anxiety with someone you trust, rather than keeping it to yourself. Avoiding anxious thoughts may actually intensify them. Opening up and discussing your concerns with a friend or family member can help you gain a fresh perspective and find support in managing your anxiety. Reminding yourself that you are safe can be a powerful strategy when dealing with anxiety. Clinical psychologist Deborah Kissin, PhD, who is the CEO of Light on Anxiety CBT treatment centers in the Chicago area, explains that anxiety can often make you feel scared, or as if you've lost control, causing your mind to race with thoughts of uncertain future catastrophes. Kissin suggests asking yourself a simple question. Is there a real danger in front of me? Or am I actually safe at home, worrying about something that poses no immediate threat? This kind of thinking can anchor you in the present moment, helping to reset your mind and body, ultimately reducing feelings of anxiety. Additionally, it's helpful to redirect the nervous energy that often accompanies anxiety. As licensed professional counselor Lisa Henderson, who co-founded Synchronous Health in Nashville, explains, anxiety can feel like a motor constantly revving. Taking control of that excess energy and channeling it into other activities can be quite effective. For instance, if you find yourself sitting and worrying, consider getting up and walking or pacing. Take a few moments to clean or step outside for a brief 5-minute break. These short bursts of physical activity can help release anxious energy and provide a sense of relief. Taking a mental break can be a valuable strategy to manage anxiety. Lisa Henderson suggests using a guided imagery app or simply allowing your mind to daydream as a way to interrupt the cycle of anxious thoughts. To do this on your own, you can set a timer for a few minutes, close your eyes, and visualize yourself in a place where you feel peaceful or happy. Henderson advises that even just letting your mind wander can be effective, especially if your anxiety stems from feeling controlled or overwhelmed. If your thoughts return to anxious concerns, acknowledge this without judgment and mentally reassure your anxiety by saying, "I'll be with you in a moment." Then go back to your daydreaming or mental break. Alternatively, you might prefer using an app designed to guide you through the process of relaxing your thoughts and releasing anxiety. There are various relaxation and meditation apps available that you can explore to find the one that resonates with you. Additionally, deep and controlled breathing can be an immediate way to calm anxiety. Inhale and exhale slowly and evenly for several breaths to help center yourself and reduce feelings of anxiety. Changing your position can be a useful strategy for breaking the cycle of anxiety, as suggested by Kissin. Consider doing the opposite of what you're currently engaged in. For example, if you find yourself hunched over with worry, try standing up and taking an empowered pose like the Wonder Woman stance. If you're cocooned under a blanket, opt to wash your face with cold water. Altering your sensory experience in this way can help change the channel away from anxiety. Mantras are powerful tools for shifting your focus away from repetitive anxious thoughts. Peterson recommends using mantras such as, "These thoughts are uncomfortable but not dangerous," or "This too will pass," to redirect your mind and ease anxiety. To establish a sense of control over your anxiety, you can put it on a schedule. Select a specific 15-minute window during the day to allow yourself to think about your anxieties. During this designated time, encourage your brain to let the anxious thoughts flow. However, when these thoughts arise outside of that scheduled period, kindly inform them that you are willing to address them, but that they should return tomorrow at the appointed time, like 3 p.m. If anxiety keeps you awake at night, consider getting out of bed after lying there for more than 5 minutes with racing thoughts. Go to another room and write down your anxieties. Return to bed when you feel tired, but if anxiety resurfaces, repeat the process. This exercise can help train your brain to associate your bed with sleep rather than anxiety, even if it takes a few nights of going back and forth to establish this pattern. Assessing whether you need treatment for anxiety is a crucial step in taking care of your mental health. While there are self-help strategies for managing anxiety, there are instances where seeking professional help is essential. Psychotherapy and medication are the primary treatments for anxiety disorders. Here are some signs that it may be time to talk to a mental health professional. 1. Constant or nearly constant anxiety. If you experience ongoing and persistent anxiety that doesn't seem to improve or dissipate on its own. 2. Anxiety that interferes with daily activities. When anxiety starts to impact your ability to carry out your daily responsibilities, such as work, social life, or other essential activities. 3. Anxiety about non-threatening situations. If you find yourself frequently anxious about events or circumstances that don't pose a real threat. 4. Panic attacks. The occurrence of panic attacks, characterized by intense and sudden episodes of anxiety or fear, often accompanied by physical symptoms like a racing heart, shortness of breath, and sweating. Before seeking professional help, it's a good idea to check your health insurance policy to understand what mental health services are covered. This can help you avoid unexpected out-of-pocket expenses. Additionally, you may want to review a list of in-network mental health providers to find one that suits your needs. Your primary care doctor can be a valuable resource as well. They can recommend a mental health professional experienced in treating anxiety and anxiety disorders. The relationship with your therapist is essential, so finding a provider with whom you connect and trust is important. It's worth noting that therapy doesn't always need to be a long-term commitment. Many people see substantial improvements even after a relatively short course of therapy. Ultimately, reaching out to a mental health professional when you experience severe or disruptive anxiety can be an important step in managing your mental health and well-being. Remember, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. You are watching Above Inspiration's YouTube channel.
Plenty of people lose their temper from time to time, but if you're constantly clowning up over relatively minor things or have trouble controlling your emotions on a regular basis, you may need to look into anger management help. These anger management books may be partnered with a therapist or could be the start of your journey.
1. Anger Management Workbook for Men. Take control of your anger and master your emotions. Clinical Therapist. Erin Carmen helps you get to the root of your anger with this modern workbook. Build self-confidence, self-respect, and self-control with positive practices to help you be in control of your emotions. It includes examples of clinical anger management strategies and productively expressing your anger. 2. The Dance of Anger, a woman's guide to changing the patterns of intimate relationships. Anger isn't just something to ignore, Dr. Lerner argues. It exists for a reason and is a call to something that needs to be addressed. In close relationships, it often is a source of discontent and may encourage women to silence themselves to not rock the boat. Dr. Lerner writes that both men and women can benefit from learning to express anger in healthy ways and identify the true source of anger, allowing emotional intimacy in couples to flourish. 3. Mindfulness for Anger Management, Transformative Skills for Overcoming Anger and Managing Powerful Emotions by Stephen Danziger, PsyD, MFT. We talk a lot about mindfulness here because it's a powerful tool for mental health in a variety of ways. Dr. Danziger takes his 25 years of experience and asks readers to look inward to identify the cause of their anger in real-life applications. work, home, and relationships. The result is a book full of self-reflective exercises, practical advice, and a deeper understanding of what happens to our bodies when we're angry. 4. Rage, a step-by-step guide to overcoming explosive anger. Anger can be categorized into 4 different types, and each one needs to be addressed differently. There's impotence rage, triggered by feelings of hopelessness, or shame rage, induced when a person feels very disrespected. Dr. Potter Ephron offers practical advice for change while understanding that anger is a personal responsibility to manage for the safety of others. 5. Letting Go of Anger, the 11 Most Common Anger Styles, and What to Do About Them, by Ronald Potter Ephron, MSW, PhD, and Patricia Potter Ephron, MS5. Letting Go of Anger, the 11 Most Common Anger Styles, and AMP, What to Do About Them. Understanding what type of anger you're experiencing is the first step to understanding how to treat it. The Potter Ephrons share that some of these styles are appropriate. However, others are not, and this can lead to serious problems if not addressed. This book offers concrete examples of types of anger and how to effectively deal with each in healthy, flexible ways. 6. The Anger Workbook, an interactive guide to anger management by Les Carter, PhD, and Frank Minerth. Anger is expressed in a variety of ways, and why we feel it is just as crucial to understanding how to overcome it. This workbook helps readers identify their anger, let go of notions of defeat or weakness, and live more in control of their emotions. 7. Beyond Anger, a guide for men. How to Free Yourself from the Grip of Anger and Get More Out of Life, by Thomas J. Harbin. Men tend to process emotions differently, and Dr. Harbin's book is here to help men process difficult emotions and understand how they affect the world around them. Explosive, aggressive anger can damage relationships and impact work. This book, designed for men with anger issues, gives men simple strategies for understanding their anger and how to successfully deal with it in a healthy way. 8. The Anger Trap. Free yourself from the frustrations that sabotage your life. Anger isn't just lost tempers and loud voices. It can include annoyance, criticism, or frustration. Learning how to recognize healthy and unhealthy ways of expressing anger can help you live a more nourishing emotional life. Dr. Carter draws on clinical and spiritual experience to help you live to your fullest without being trapped by your anger. 9. Never Get Angry Again, the foolproof way to stay calm and in control in any conversation or situation. If you've struggled with anger management treatment in the past, maybe it's time for a change of pace, or rather, a change of mind. Dr. Lieberman challenges readers to consider that a change in perspective might be healthier than trying to just calm down. In his book, he argues it's a lot easier to never get angrier in the first place rather than calming down after a blow-up. 10. Angry, All the Time, an emergency guide to anger control. If you're someone who has lost a lot to anger, jobs, relationships, or worse, then this book is your first step in the right direction.
When someone close to you has anxiety, it can be difficult to know what to say. If you want to let your loved one know that you support them, here are some things that you can say, along with things that you should avoid saying. Recognizing anxiety. Everyone experiences anxiety from time to time. However, some people experience anxiety to the point where it interferes with their daily lives. It's estimated that about 19% of adults in the US have anxiety disorders. Anxiety disorders are among the most common types of mental illness. There are several different kinds of anxiety disorders, and the symptoms may not be obvious. Also, not everyone reacts the same way in stressful situations. It may be hard to tell if a friend or family member is struggling with anxiety. One thing that's similar about all kinds of anxiety disorders is that they cause people to feel overwhelmed more easily than others. This can also cause them to react in a negative way toward these feelings. It may be hard for you to see a friend or family member struggle with anxiety. If you notice that someone is having trouble, there are things that you can say and do to help. What to say? If a family member or friend with anxiety decides to open up to you, listen patiently and don't push them or pressure them to talk about more than they're ready to share. It's important that as you listen, you don't judge what they have to say. What they're going through is their experience, not yours. What can I do to help you? Instead of offering advice straight away, ask your loved one what they need. Don't guess what kind of support they need, or make suggestions for things that might work for you and not them. Ask them what you can do to help. Your friend might want advice, or simply just an ear to listen. If they do need help dealing with their anxiety, there are several ways that you can offer to help. Talk about the specific issues that are most worrisome to them. Try to help them break down these issues into smaller tasks so that they don't seem so daunting. You can also offer emotional support. Assure them that they can get through whatever situation they're facing. I'm here for you. You're not alone. Like offering to help, letting someone with anxiety know that they're not alone can be meaningful. Even if you don't understand everything that your friend or family member is going through, you can validate their feelings. Tell them that you will support them through their tough time. Let your friend know that you'll be there to talk when they need it. If you aren't available when a friend calls, follow up and check on them later. You can also call them regularly to see how they are doing. Do you want to do something to take your mind off of things? It's hard to know what to say to someone with anxiety, and chances are they probably don't want to talk all the time. Instead, ask them if they would like to do a fun, healthy activity that you both enjoy to help them relax. This can be as simple as going for a walk or going out for coffee together. What not to say. It's also important to know what not to say to someone who's anxious. Anxiety disorders are the most common mental health conditions in America, affecting nearly 1 in 5 adults, according to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. This means you likely know someone, a relative, spouse, friend, or co-worker, who lives with an anxiety disorder. If you've never experienced impairing anxiety, that is, anxiety that goes beyond a healthy response to a stressor, it can be hard to understand someone who is experiencing it, says Helen Egger Maryland, co-founder and chief medical and scientific officer at Little Otter, a virtual family mental health care platform. Occasionally experiencing the jitters or worries is a normal part of life. The difference, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, is that people with an anxiety disorder experience symptoms often, and those symptoms do not easily go away. Symptoms vary from person to person and can include difficulty controlling worries, getting fatigued easily, having trouble concentrating, headaches, muscle aches or pains with no other apparent cause, irritability, panic attacks, periods of intense and sudden fear, or feeling a loss of control despite no clear danger present, frequently feeling restless or on edge, sleep problems, sweating, trembling or racing heartbeat. Even though you might not understand everything someone experiencing anxiety is going through, you can provide reassurance and help ease their angst. However, even with the best of intentions, it's all too easy to inadvertently say or do things that hurt more than help, says Joanne Frederick, a licensed mental health counselor in private practice in Washington, D.C. Your words do have the power to help someone with this condition. Knowing the right things to say to a person who has an anxiety disorder can make a huge difference to the person who is struggling, Dr. Egger says. So what shouldn't you say to someone with anxiety? And just as importantly, what can you say to be helpful? Experts advise avoiding these 4 phrases. 1. Calm down. More often than not, this all-too-common phrase comes across as condescending, Frederick says. If the person experiencing anxiety could calm down at that moment, they'd simply do it. Egger adds that the phrase calm down implies that your friend or loved one is choosing not to be calm, or that they're choosing to feel anxious, when in reality their condition makes it extremely difficult for them to feel calm. As a result, this phrase can cause them to feel ashamed, powerless, and alone. Try instead gently offer support without judgment, suggests Frederick, by using phrases such as, I'm here for you. I'm here to listen if you want to talk. I'll stay with you if you'd like. 2. Be more present. Many people with anxiety disorders have anticipatory anxiety, meaning they worry intensely about things that haven't happened yet but might happen in the future. Frederick says. Asking your loved one just to be present in the moment would be the same as asking them to wave a magic wand and have their anxiety disappear, she explains. Try instead, ask them what's currently causing them their greatest worry. If they rattle off a list of several things, Frederick suggests asking them to focus on whatever is most pressing or fast approaching, and then help them address their fears surrounding that thing first. Work with them to de-escalate the situations they have coming up right away, and do not try to tackle everything at once, she advises. If they're willing, offer to help them practice staying within the present moment, Egger suggests. One technique to try. Ask them to choose something in their immediate surroundings to focus on. Then, ask them to use their senses to describe what they see, hear, touch, smell, and taste. This so-called grounding technique helps distract them from their worries and pull them back into the present moment. Alternatively, try walking them through a visualization exercise, a technique that encourages the mind and body to relax, Egger says. To begin, ask them to close their eyes, take a few deep breaths, and then think of a happy memory, or imagine being in a serene place such as a flower-filled meadow or a sunny beach. Encourage them to spend 5 or so minutes taking it all in before opening their eyes. 3. Quit overthinking. Similar to the phrase, calm down, telling someone to stop overthinking implies that they're simply choosing not to control their anxiety. In truth, anxiety is a complex but treatable illness like diabetes. In the same way you'd never tell someone to just quit feeling the symptoms of diabetes like being thirsty or very tired, it's unhelpful to tell someone with an anxiety disorder to just stop feeling the symptoms of their condition, says Egger. In fact, most people with anxiety are aware to some extent that their worries may be out of proportion to the situation at hand, and knowing that they can't control their reaction only makes them feel worse. When anxiety rears its head, it is vast, Frederick explains. What's more, telling someone in the middle of an anxiety attack that what they're worried about is not a big deal or that they should stop overthinking disregards their genuine distress, she says. Try instead, listen to their concerns and validate their feelings without trying to offer any solutions in the moment. Phrases Egger suggests trying are, I can tell you're having a really hard time. You're safe. I'm here to help you get through this. 4. Worrying won't change anything. When someone we care about is suffering, our instinct is to try and fix the situation for them. The trouble is that anxiety disorders don't typically have an easy fix because the anxious thoughts often aren't logical or are focused on the worst-case scenario. Trying to soothe someone's anxiety by telling them their thoughts aren't productive, worthwhile, or that they're a waste of time also invalidates their feelings and may even leave them feeling more distressed than before, Egger explains. Try instead. Showing your loved one understanding, patience, and empathy can go a long way. If I've learned anything in my 30 years as a psychiatrist, it's that our words have power, Egger explains. What a person with an anxiety disorder needs to hear is that you understand that they're having a hard time and that you are there to support them. Let's say a family member or friend with anxiety is very stressed about a big presentation at work and convinced they'll fail. Frederick suggests reinforcing that it's okay to be anxious while reminding them of past successes, telling them, for example, it's perfectly normal to feel stressed, but I know you've worked hard to prepare for this and have already given great presentations in the past. Other helpful phrases you might say, do you want to do something to take your mind off things? How can I help right now? Let's try to navigate through this together.
You are watching Stoic Principles. Now we encourage our viewers to engage with our content through likes and subscriptions. If you have any more questions or need assistance with anything else, feel free to ask in the comment section.